Let's talk about bagpipe drone ribbons. The highland pipe needs a means of holding the drones in position, and typically these days you see a rope style, a cable laid drone cord made of silk or wool or like substance. And the earliest extant image we have of a highland pipe is the Piper to the Laird of Grant, painted in 1714 by Richard Watt, and we see a cord that any modern piper would recognize. But starting in about 1840, we start to see images of the drones being held by ribbons, and it was clear from the images that it's ribbons alone, there's no cord underneath. Initially they were plain colored, which is what I've done here with this miniature pipe, this Scottish small pipe made by David Glenn, 1890s or so, and I've just used plain red ribbons. But around 1850, 1860, we start to see tartan ribbons, which is what we're concerned about now, because these are an element of full dress for pipers, and the supplies become a bit problematic. I believe that at one point the demand was sufficient that these things would be woven with a proper selvage edge on either side, but such is no longer the case. I don't think that polyester and other material ribbons they don't look good to me, they look cheap. So what people are doing these days, they're cutting tartan from a wide piece, hemming the edges as we see here. And there's a bit of labor that goes into these things, and they're potentially very expensive, because if we're using a single piece of cloth, the center element of a drone ribbon, in my experience, I might be wrong, that may not be in every case, but in my experience, the center element of a drone ribbon is the center element of that particular regiment's tartan. Oh look, I'm off. So for the C4, it's a red line. Now, if we're using single width cloth, I'm only getting 2 ribbons out of every 2 yard piece. Out of double width cloth, 1, 2, 3, 4 ribbons out of a 6 yard piece. And at current cloth prices, that means your material cost for each set of ribbons for one bagpipe is like 80 bucks Canadian, and that's before the material. Prohibitively priced, and most of the material winds up as waste on the ground, on the shop floor. It's good for nothing. So what I have done, I sat down with a beer and a magnifying glass and a needle and a pad of paper, and I worked out a thread count, which the mill kindly wove for me, and this is the beauty of dealing with the mill DC Dog Leash, because they will entertain any request. So what we've done here is that we've come up with a thread count so that in this direction we see the tartan set, but in this direction we have a series of ribbons with virtually no waste. These white lines are cutting lines showing me where to cut to separate these things. So instead of 4 ribbons per piece at $80 a pair, in this we have 25 ribbons per 2 yards, which is 12.5 sets at a unit cost per bagpipe of $13 a pair for the material. So this is an extremely more economical way to go about it. If you want instructions on how to do this, I will show you how to calculate this yourself and put you in touch with the mill so that you can organize it and get your own savings. Thank you.